important form of activism. A lot of Ron Paul's victories were not what happened, what happened legally or any real change. It was the revolution that was inspired by getting his message out there. And running to get the message out there is one form of running, but running to get in is another form. So Rachel Kania is going to be talking about what it takes to get elected, what it takes to run a professional, tight campaign that reaches as many people and optimizes the campaign budget to be as successful as absolutely possible. So thank you so much, Rachel Kania.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. So first of all, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement before I forget about Liberty on the Rocks. I also run the chapter here in Austin. It's called Liberty on the Rocks. It's a networking event. We host events monthly for young professionals who are interested in liberty and talking about local issues. And the next one is this Wednesday night. It's at the Chicago House downtown off of Trinity and 6th Street. So right there in 36. And we have the whole place and we have free drinks all night. And the event is on ride sharing. So the topic is ride sharing, and as most of you probably know, Lyft and Uber, ride sharing companies, are having a hard time getting started here in Austin. Some of their cars have been impounded and they've been getting ticketed. So we're having an event to shed some light on what's the legality of this, why are they getting impounded, why is this an issue when it's a free market solution to a transportation issue that we all have here in Austin. It's hard to get a cab. I mean, how many of you tried to get a cab in Austin? It's almost impossible. So Lyft will be there giving out free rides home, so you can literally get free drinks and get a free ride home and listen to really awesome, a lawyer, Larry Salzman from the Institute for Justice will be there talking about constitutional rights of companies like this to operate in the United States. They have launched in like San Francisco and other big cities, and they've had no problem, but of course in Austin, they are pushing back on it because they want to push this light rail agenda. So I'm supposed to talk about how to win elections, and obviously that's there's a lot of layers to that, and depending upon what election and what candidate and what district and all that stuff. So I'm going to just focus on city council races today since we have city council candidates here, and I'm actually here on behalf of Bill Worsham, who's back there in the corner.
All right, Bill.
Hopefully I do him justice, but I actually had an opportunity to work for Ron Paul and Ted Cruz in the past, and so that's what's been my experience. And I'm just going to talk about the ways that you guys can get involved on a campaign, because all the campaigns I've worked on have been, those underdog races, fighting the establishment, fighting the front runner who has tons of money, who's willing to buy the race, which we have an opponent like that in this race as well. So it all really depends on volunteers and y'all helping, because some of you may know we have really strict contribution limits here in Austin on how much money we can raise. It's $350 per individual, and so $700 per couple, which is like absolutely no money at all per person. So it's really heavily weighted for incumbents, and it's very hard for first-time candidates or people who want to get in, who haven't run before, who don't have a lot of name identification. It's really hard to raise the kind of money that you need. And so Laura Presley, she's doing an amazing job, but it really ultimately falls down on the volunteers and having a really good ground game. And so I know a lot of us come to these meetings. I've been to a handful of them, and I became a member earlier this year. I know Justin really well. And we all come here and we talk about the issues, but it really doesn't mean anything unless we actually go and do something.
You're here to that.
Yeah. It's not glamorous work. It's absolutely not glamorous at all. And so it's why a lot of people don't want to be a part of it. But more than anything, you're a part of movement, you have friends, you meet new people, and you're fighting for something greater than yourself that's going to benefit your entire community. And so I have about 5 things, of course there's more, that I think that you can do to help on any city council election you want, or even just to fight for an issue if you want to work on the travel committee against the Project Connect, which you absolutely should, and show up on August 7th. But if you want to work for a candidate because you believe in that candidate, I have 5 things for you to do. So, number 1.
Do you mean work, not work officially for, but
no,
run a parallel campaign?
Yeah.
Are you talking about volunteering directly for the campaign or running a parallel campaign?
No, volunteering for the campaign.
Okay.
You can run a parallel campaign, but there's a lot of problems with that. We saw that with the Ron Paul campaign. People want to run their own grassroots initiative, that's great, but if you're not coordinating with the campaign, how can you possibly get any kind of synergy or movement or momentum? So I'm encouraging to get involved with the campaign. Every campaign is different, but you can do, on every campaign you can do 5 things, and they all do them differently, but here's 5 things that you can do. Block walking, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this. I hope I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I'm up here to say this anyway. So block walking. You either get walk lists, or now we have an app on our phone, and you can literally just hit the answers to the questions. You walk door to door and talk to people in that district. It's actually not as bad as it sounds. You do it with one other person, preferably a guy and a girl, and you go door to door. It's a really good workout. Break what it is, hand in the heat. You start at like 8 a.m. in the morning, you stop at lunchtime. One way to get involved. And block walking is super important in these city council elections because some of the data that we have, and I'm going to say this across the board, probably for all the city council candidates, there's not a lot of phone numbers. So block walking is very important. It's expensive to buy phone numbers and have good data on people. So block walking, number 1 way you can help out. Number 2 way you can help out is yard signs. And normally, I would say yard signs are not the second most important way to get involved, but in this case they are because it's a city council race. It's right here in your neighborhood. You can put a yard sign anywhere in Austin, and someone's going to connect that. Like I have Laura Presley signs in my district, and I'm in District 3, and I think it's awesome. But so yard signs all throughout. 4x8s, highway signs. We need help setting those up. We need to go to Home Depot, get the posts, like literally put them in the ground. Like people don't do this. We don't pay people to do this. We rely on volunteers. And so 4x8 signs in your yard. That's the second way to help out. Third way to help out, phone banking. Sitting in a restaurant like this, drinking a beer while you make phone calls to voters
drunk,
in
right?
that district. You can get a little drunk. It's actually better that way. No, really, it is. You know, you listen up a little bit. You don't feel as nervous about it. As long as you know what you're talking about. You have like a script in front of you. Stick to the script. Stick to the script. Phone banking. And so you call, this is really crucial, like the 2 to 3 weeks before the election, or before early voting, I should say, where you remind everybody to get out to vote. Because even if you've identified your supporters through your block walking, your online advertising, or your emails or your direct mail previously, you still have got to remind people, hey, the election is actually on this day, and we actually need you to show up in person and actually check the box. Because people don't totally think through it. You have to remind them. That's number 3. Number 4, hosting meet and greets or fundraisers, even at your home, if you can. I mean, all over Austin, these city council candidates are running in a district, one part of Austin, but they're running to be an Austin City Council member, so they're running to represent all Austinites. And so you need to, if you have friends and family that you think would be interested, as a Liberty person, as someone connected to your church, as someone, even with your work. I don't know what you do for a living, but maybe you can find a way to tie that in. Anything. Try to think of any avenue and then host a meet and greet at your home. And then that really just leads into number 5, is pulling together any contacts you have and making the connections. If you can just sit here tonight and think of 5 people that you know that might be interested in Ed English, Bill Worsham, Laura Presley, whoever it is, Traffic Community Project Connect, stuff fighting that. Think of who those people are, make the connection, connect those people over email, set up a time for them to meet each other. This is some real basic stuff that people can do anytime, anywhere. The only thing that I would say is think about what your personality type is. I mean, I know that all this isn't for everybody. It might be really daunting for you to walk up to someone's house, knock on their door, and ask them a couple of questions on a Saturday morning. It might be easier for you to just put up yard signs. All of it is equally important, and we really, really need some help. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't forget Wednesday night, free drinks and free rides home. I don't know how you could not want to do that, but and good crowd too. We hope to have like over 100 people there. So I'm going to leave it now to Justin.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
I just have one little tip that goes along with what you're saying.
Yes.
With yard signs being the second. One thing I've seen people doing is like that little bitty skinny sliver on the one side of your driveway. Put a sign there, and then put one on the opposite side of the yard, so it kind of looks like 2 neighbors have signs. It's like a safety in numbers.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, there's lots of people in my neighborhood that support these good candidates. It's kind of a trick, but a little visual
Chicago
which is
House
downtown.
on Wednesday
Yeah, and
downtown.
actually how
Chicago
business
House
cards
on
are
Wednesday downtown. Just write down Liberty on the Rocks, Liberty on the Rocks, Liberty on the Rocks.
I wanted to ask her about selling merchandise for a campaign. How do you keep that separate from donations?
Yeah, you can sell merchandise as a part of the campaign. I mean, it's kind of a little legal runaround, but you can sell merchandise as part of the campaign. You just ask for like a $15 donation, and with that donation, you get a yard sign. Is that what you're asking?
Well, like if I have t-shirts, hats, some killer posters, I want to sell them.
Yeah.
How would I do
I just
that
would
and
ask
avoid the like campaign limits, or do I have to get their names?
I would just ask for a donation and then email and then mail it to them. Yeah. That would
Does that work towards a 350?
I think it
Yes,
probably
it
does.
Yeah.
So you would need to make sure you collect all the Texas Ethics Commission
Yeah.
information when you sell the merch.
Yeah, you just do it through the website.
Do it through the
And
website.
the way you would collect any other donation and just list, $25 gets you this.
So now, to change, well, first of all, thank you so much.